Shalom to everyone. We are really getting to the days before Pesach, getting ready to clean and getting ready to bring in the matzah to the house and all the beautiful things that we need for our Seder. And as we always say, when Nisan comes in, we always say, B'Nisan nigalu abotenu, the month of Nisan we were redeemed, or B'Nisan Atzidim ligoy l'mitz Hashem, in Nisan we should be redeemed. So mitz Hashem, before this Shabbos, we should have Mashiach, we should be able to sit by the Seder with Mashiach Tzidkenu. But one line to learn is about this week. This Shabbos is called Shabbat Hagadol, a great Shabbos, a great Shabbos, and everybody talks about why is it called Shabbat Hagadol, what is so great. It's brought in Halacha, Shulchan Aruch, the Baal HaTanya, Inish Shulchan Aruch speaks a lot about it. But just one line. So what we're learning about Shabbat Hagadol is that because this Shabbos was a great miracle. What was the great miracle? As we know, that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to tell Am Yisrael to put a sheep, a lamb, away for the Paschal lamb that we're supposed to do on Pesach, 4 days prior of that. And everyone got a lamb and tied it to the bed. And the Egyptians asked, what is that all about? And as we know that the lamb was their idol, and they were very nervous about it, very upset about it. That's what it's all about. And the Jews told them, because in 4 days we are going to bring this offering, we're going to do the Paschal lamb, the Korban Pesach. And that night when we're going to do the Korban Pesach, Hashem will do the 10th plague and kill the firstborn Egyptian. But as the story goes, the firstborn Egyptians were very nervous about it. And that was interesting itself. The Jews, instead of being scared of them, that they're using their idols to be offering, the Korban Pesach, instead of that, the Egyptians got nervous themselves. And the firstborn went to Pharaoh and they said, let the Jews go, because if not, the firstborn will all die. And they didn't want, and there was a big war between firstborn and the Egyptians. And many of them got killed, as the story goes. And that was the miracle of Shabbat Hagadol. The question comes, what's such a big miracle that the firstborn Egyptians were fighting at a war with the Egyptians for their sake? They did it because they didn't want to die. What is the big miracle called? Not Shabbat Hagadol. Shabbat Hagadol, the great miracle of Shabbat. And the idea is, in short, as being explained, that we see firstborn Egyptians sticking up for the Jews, fighting for the Jews, getting killed for the Jews. The Alter Rebbe explains it even deeper, and he says you should know that this idea that a firstborn Egyptian want to fight for the Jews should get out of Egypt, this was the beginning of the exodus of Egypt. Well, this is why Shabbat Hagadol is a great Shabbos and a great miracle, because the miracle of the exodus begun with this story. Yes, the actual miracle was later, and a few days later when the Jews left, but when the miracle begun, at this moment when the firstborn Egyptians went to fight for the Jews to get out, that was the beginning of the exodus of the Jews, because as we understand, they were fighting for the rights because they wanted to leave, and they were fighting with the Egyptians. This brought the momentum for the Egyptians to allow the Jews go, and even more, they chased them out of Egypt, as we know the story later. So this is what makes the Shabbos to be a great Shabbos, because of this great miracle that the Egyptians, the firstborn Egyptians initiated. They brought the exodus of the Jews to get out of Egypt, and it begun this day, this miracle. Why did we merit to have such a big miracle like that? And as it's explained in many layers, again, I'm not getting into all the details of the firstborn Egyptians fighting for the Jews and beginning the exodus for the Jews instead of fighting against the Jews. This all became because of one reason. Because the Jews went Mesirut Nefesh. Because for the Jews to take the lamb, the sheep, to tie it to the bed was really something that it was very hard for them, because it was dangerous. This was the idol of the Egyptians. But still they didn't care. They went and they did it no matter what happened. That's called Mesirut Nefesh for Hashem. Hashem said, they went and they did it. They didn't think about the outcome, what's going to be. And it could be bad, but they didn't think about it. They didn't worry about it. They worried for one thing. Hashem says do it. They went and they did it. They could have done it hiding. No, they did it bereish galei, in public. As dangerous as it sounds, they did it anyway because Hashem said to do it, and in public, and they went and they did it. And this idea of Jews doing a mitzvah, b'mesirut nefesh, with a real devotion to Hashem, not caring for the outcome, it may come negative things, not to worry about it. This brought this great miracle that Egyptians themselves, the firstborn Egyptians themselves, they brought upon us the exodus of Egypt by fighting with the Egyptians. The message, the lesson of this Shabbos is going to be, we can get the entire world to help us to get out of Galus, as same as the firstborn Egyptians did it to us then. We can get Mashiach closer to bring Mashiach and to get out of our Galus, and we will. But how do we get there? How do we begin the exodus of Egypt? How do we begin the exodus of our Egypt, of our Golus, to get out of our Golus to come to Mashiach? Mesiras Nefesh, as the Jews did then. When Hashem tells you to do something, do it. Don't be afraid. Don't worry. Don't be embarrassed what other people say. Don't be shy. You just do what Hashem wants. And through our Mesirat Nefesh and our devotion to Hashem, doing a mitzvah in a proper way, like the Jews did it in Shabbat Hagadol, like the Jews did it then, they did it for Hashem without questions. This brought the great results of the exodus of Egypt, as we said before. The beginning started through this act of the Jews. So let's do the same thing. Let's do our mitzvahs for Pesach coming up with a great devotion, with enthusiasm, with simcha, with joy, not to care about anyone else, what anyone else says. Let's just do it with Mesiras Nefesh. And this will, Emetz Hashem, cause and bring our exodus with Mashiach Tzidkenu before Pesach this year. Have yourself a great Shabbat Hagadol and a great Pesach.